We'll call the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order for March 13th, 2019. The time is 6 p.m. Next item on the agenda is our hearing of residents. Tiffany tells me we have nobody signed up. If there is anybody that has not signed up that wishes to address the commission, please come up, and seeing no takers. All right, next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Consists of the minutes for the February 27th, 2019 regular meeting. Commissioners, any comments, questions, corrections? Let's have a motion.
Motion, we approve the minutes of the February 27, 2019 regular meeting.
All right, motion approved, and a second.
Yes, second.
All right, any other comments? Nope. All right, call for a vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. 6 ayes, no nays. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing. Hold a public hearing, consider and make a recommendation on a request for a specific use permit to allow a convenience store with gas pumps on approximately 2 acres of land, more specifically described as the southeast corner of FM 3009 and Rips Chrysler, City of Schertz, Guadalupe County, Texas. Nick.
There you go. Now you can hear me. All right, good evening. So this is item SUP 2018-003 for a specific use permit at the southeast corner of FM 3009 and Rips Chrysler to allow a convenience store with gas pumps. So just for your reference, here's the property outlined in green. This is I-35. This road here is FM 3009, and this right here is Rips Chrysler. So in preparation for this hearing, 8 public hearing notices were mailed out to the surrounding property owners, and a public hearing notice sign was posted on the property on Friday, March 1st. So far, staff has received 2 responses to the public hearing notices, 1 in favor of the SUP and 1 neutral to the application. Here's the current zoning map of the area. Location of the subject property is indicated with the gold star here, and as you can see, it is currently zoned General Business District under our current zoning map. Looking at the effect of the specific use permit on the surrounding properties, the one immediately adjacent property here is an approximately 150-acre undeveloped tract of land that is currently zoned general business. The property is also adjacent to 2 right-of-ways here, FM 3009 on the west side of the property and Rips Chrysler Road on the north side of the property. The 2 tracts of land on the opposite sides of the right-of-ways are both zoned general business. This one here is occupied by First United Bank, and the one on the opposite side of Rips Chrysler is occupied by Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union. Since the potential convenience store with gas pumps would be immediately adjacent to potentially 3 roadways with this existing FM 3009 and the existing Rips Chrysler and the proposed extension of Baptist Health Drive, and the large general business zoned undeveloped tract of land, this means the approval of the SUP would not have an additional adverse impact on the surrounding commercially zoned properties. Looking at the comprehensive plan shown here through the future land use map, the subject property is designated both as commercial campus and single-family residential. You can see from the key here that commercial campus is this lighter red color and the single-family residential is the yellow. It's right here split on this line. The proposed convenience store is compatible with the retail commercial uses that the future land use plan identifies as appropriate for land areas designated as commercial campus, and is therefore in conformance with the comprehensive plan falling under the commercial campus designation. Moving on to the conceptual site plan submitted with the application, you can see here in the center, this is a zoomed in view of the first sheet, that they are proposing a 5,000 square foot, approximately 5,000 square foot convenience store, and then a canopy down here with 8 gas pumps under it. The site plan shows 3 proposed access points. The first one down here, this is FM 3009. This will be a 2-way right in, right out entrance and exit. The one on Baptist Health Drive will be a 2-way entrance and exit. And the one off Rips Chrysler will be a right in only, entrance only driveway. These access points, along with a comprehensive traffic impact analysis, were approved by the City of Schertz Engineering Department and by the Texas Department of Transportation. They're proposing to add 43 parking spots, which is well over the 20 spaces that is required in UDC Article 10. and a 25-foot fire lane that you can see here grayscaled that'll extend around the entire convenience store. Here are the proposed elevations for the convenience store. UDC section 21.9.5 exterior construction and design standards requires that all non-residential buildings comply with the exterior building material requirements, glazing requirements, and the architectural feature requirements. So if you look here at the elevations table, you can see that the proposed convenience store will be constructed primarily out of a combination of stone and brick, consisting of at least 84% of each facade, which is above the 80% requirement for commercial properties. The convenience store will also include at least 30% glazing, glass doors and windows on each facade, which meets the 30% requirement for each facade. And the building also complies with the minimum required horizontal and vertical articulations. The gas canopy also meets the exterior construction materials because the columns will be proposed to constructed completely out of brick. So they also meet the requirements in UDC section 21.9.5. Regarding the landscaping on site, the applicant is proposing to landscape, you can see from this table here, 24% of the total land area and plant a total of 39 new trees, satisfying their base landscape installation required in 21.9.71. The applicant will also be saving one of the existing heritage trees, or one of the two existing heritage trees, a 39-inch live oak, by relocating it on site into this landscaped area here. They'll be removing the other one, the 34.5 live oak. They're still well over the 25% requirement to preserve 25% of all mitigatable, protected, and heritage class trees. Along 3009 down here at the bottom, you can see that they're proposing to plant 15 trees, which satisfies the landscaping requirements that you plant 1 tree per 20 linear feet along principal arterials in the city of Schertz, and FM 3009 is a principal arterial according to our master thoroughfare plan. They're also complying with all other perimeter landscaping and interior parking area landscaping requirements, respectively outlined in UDC section 21.97. So overall, the site plan meets all of the requirements outlined in the UDC, and therefore staff does recommend approval of the specific use permit to allow a convenience store with gas pumps conditioned upon the following. A building permit is approved within 1 year of the adoption of the SUP ordinance, and the use begins operation within 2 years of the issuance of all necessary building permits. The applicant is here to give a short presentation and speak, and also to answer any questions. Thank you.
All right, then. We'll open the public hearing at 6:07. If the applicant would like to come forward and make your presentation.
Sure. Hi. I'm actually just going to make a quick introduction, and then we'll get into the presentation. My name is Ashley Fairmont. I work with Kaufman & Gillen, a local land use law firm. We're here tonight with Quick Trip to present you, hopefully, the newest Schertz store. I do want to quickly introduce the team. We have J.D. Dudley, who's the project manager, who will tell you more about why Quick Trip is unique, why we think they're a good fit for Schertz, and also the specifics of the site plan. And also, we have Mike Wooden here, who's the real estate manager with Quick Trip, as well as Aaron Perinsky, who's the civil engineer for the project with Kimley Horn. Quick Trip is new to the Bexar County area. I don't know if you all have had an opportunity to see any of their new stores. There is one in Live Oak. Hopefully you can have a chance to go there. They have been looking, though, to find a site in Schertz. It's a community that they really want to be in, and they found a site, hopefully, on 3009 that you all will support. It's an opportunity to serve Schertz residents, but also those passing by on 3009. The site had the general business zoning, which we felt was appropriate, but we did understand that we needed to add the SUP. So for the past several months, we've been working with Nick, and I do want to thank Nick because it's been an extensive process. I'm sure you saw in your packet that there was some back and forth on the site plan. But we have been going through that for several months, and I think we ended up with a site plan that obviously staff supports, that at a minimum meets code, and we think it exceeds your requirements, but also have elevations that exceed what a typical Quick Trip would look like, which we think is also already pretty nice. So hopefully you all will support that. So I do just want to, again, thank Nick, thank Emily. Quick Trip does want to be here in Schertz, and hopefully you all will take a look at the site plan, realize that the use is appropriate, but also realize that Quick Trip, they are unique. We think that the standard that they have is higher than a typical convenience store and maybe provides a bit of a different product. So with that, I'd like to introduce J.D. He can come up here and talk a little bit about Quick Trip. Thank you.
Commissioners, thank you. Thank you for your time this evening. My name is J.D. Dudley, and I'm a real estate project manager for Quick Trip. I definitely do want to mirror what she said about staff with Emily, Mr. Nowak, John Nowak, Nick, but especially John working through the access. Access was a major issue here, trying to figure out, working with TxDOT where the right-in, right-out drive should fall, and eliminating a full access point, turning into a right-in, making it work, and going through that TIA process. Access is probably one of our most important things, getting people in, being in the convenience store business, and I think we came up with something here that's safe, that works, that everybody can support. I've been with Quick Trip about 16 years. I actually started out in high school working overnights, just mopping floors, cleaning bathrooms, scrubbing grills. And it's a story that you'll hear echoed throughout every single Quick Trip. Mike Wooten's 17 years. We've both been in real estate for 13, and what Quick Trip's about is promotion from within. Our mission statement is to provide an opportunity for employees to grow and succeed, and that's actually why I'm here before you today. Our market's become saturated. We drop 140 stores in Dallas and 60, and so what happens is you either got to die, get fired, or retire for movability, for people to move around, and that's really not good for anybody. And so what we do is we go into new markets. We came to Austin, San Antonio, and they moved 16 of us down here with our families, with our spouses and our children, and we've really tried to ingrain ourselves in the community. Foundations in our company is built on our core values. First is focus long-term, do the right thing, do what's right for Quick Trip, never be satisfied, and be the best, and that is the pyramid that builds our company. We've actually had 15 years on Fortune's list of 100 best companies to work for in America. We're perennially listed for 100 best companies to work for. That's just an employee survey they send out at random, and we're perennially on that list. Right now, we're 29. Our CEO likes to say that's only because the other 28 cheated, but we are currently sitting at number 29. So each Quick Trip's going to generate about an average of 20 new jobs per store. We never laid off an employee in the history of the company. We've been around 60 years. We are privately held, so the employees do have ESOP, stock ownership. That's why we take ownership in the company. An average store manager makes about $80,000 a year, 80 to 100. We start full-time employees off at about $45,000 a year. Part-time, they start off at 11, but for 3 years, they get 10% increases to make about 13.5. And we also provide tuition reimbursement. Now, we do contribute about 5% of our annual profits to local charitable donations, such as United Way, which will go to help the San Antonio area. We actually, every store employee gets a slip every year. You donate $5, $10, $20 a week, and Quick Trip matches those contributions. One of the biggest things that we did this past year and actually annually is the Folds of Honor. That's one of our biggest charities that we support. And pretty much what they do is they provide scholarships to spouses and children whose significant other has fallen in the line of duty. We sponsored a NASCAR event, the Atlanta 500, or the Folds of Honor 500. We sponsor it, but we let Folds of Honor actually put their logos up, and we throw that event for them. Each Quick Trip is a national safe place. And so what you'll find, that's something we're bringing to the area. Just like a fire station, if there's an endangered youth at all, they can come to the store. We have a dedicated spot in the store that we can take them to. We can get them something to drink, call the authorities, and make sure they're safe until help arrives. So the first slide I have here is just a perspective. This is 3009 with RIPS looking into the site. The actual store itself, the orientation of the store itself is going to face Roy Richard Drive, FM 3009. The reason being, this site, we had a lot of constraints with utilities, utility extensions, easements, the heritage tree preservation. We couldn't actually turn the site and push the building back up against the RIP property and face RIPS because we couldn't put that heritage tree on any of our frontages. We can't put them in the CPS easement. We had utility easement, water easements to contend with. And honestly, it would have been better for us to rotate that site because we have triple lot frontage, so we're actually having to dress up the building, which I'll touch on here shortly. We have to actually make it look like a front of a store. So it's considerable more cost to the project, but really this was the best layout for access. And as I pointed out, you can see on RIPS, we do have a right-in. And so that right-in is actually currently a full access. We're going to rip that out and have just a right-in only. And then our primary access for people to get back out will be the development road to the rear of the property. So this is a standard Gen 3 Quick Trip. And the first thing that we do whenever we put a site under contract is I perform a site feasibility study. So I pull all of your ordinances, all of your codes, put together a 22-tab assessment of landscaping, building, photometric, whatever's in there, and we have an initial strategy meeting. And what we do is we're a corporation, right? But we're very transparent, and I've said that from the beginning. We're nothing but if honest. And if we come in, we try to match the area, we do the best we can. Here, we're not asking for any variances. We're able to figure out the landscaping, figure out the setbacks, the trash enclosure, and the building architecture. It was a challenge. When we had that initial meeting, there were a lot of things, as you can tell, from a standard quick trip to what we're actually building. We went ahead and we've got the stacked stone in place of the ephes. We've got a complete rear facade, the rear pilasters, the increased fenestration with the windows on the back of the building, the sides. The biggest difference between this building, though, and the previous building is this is a shoebox flat rectangle design. The Schertz quick trip actually it looks flat from this angle, but on the corner, those are 8-foot angled entries where if you're going to have a horizontal articulation, an additional 8 feet 6 inches on either side of the building. The columns are increased in width, in number, and in depth. And we also have a raised brick parapet on top of the building to screen the mechanical equipment instead of the poly mesh that we typically use. So the major thing I want to point out here is we've talked about building architecture and what we're going to bring from an aesthetic standpoint. And there is a major benefit there when Quick Trip does come in, because what happens when we do come in, when we come into Leon Valley or we come into other places, what we've seen, even in Dallas, competitors have to clean up their stores. They've got to clean them up, they've got to reface them, and they've got to compete in order to compete. And so you do see the elevations inside and the store inside being cleaned with Quick Trip coming in. So one thing I did want to point out is we did beat Buc-ee's for cleanest bathrooms. Then they took it back, and so we keep swapping out first, second, first, second, first, second. I know that you do have gas stations in Schertz and in the area, but I will say one thing that definitely sets us apart is we have bathrooms we're not afraid to stop in and actually use. As far as convenience store magazine is concerned, they rated us #1 last year. And basically our store security features. So we have probably one of the most sophisticated store security features. We put most banks to shame. Essentially what we did is we went back and we hired Colonel Tennyson. I don't want to butcher this, but we essentially went, he's a 29-year retired Army general, and he was a military police officer. He had top secret clearance, and it's and I don't want to mess this up, with sensitive compartmented information caveat. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds important. So anyway, we went and got Charles Tennyson. We spent $69 million. We went back and retrofitted all of our stores. So all of our stores and all of our existing stores, they pretty much have, I'll go ahead and list, we have check stand alarm buttons. You can't even get into the check stand without your badge. Backroom alarm buttons, we actually have a personal belt clip that they wear. So if they fall down, corporate's alerted. Corporate has a DVR system where they can actually talk to the employee, get in, call, and monitor immediately as soon as any of those alarms are tripped. We also have pinhole cameras in the front and rear of the door that are about eye level for anybody coming in and leaving. And the stores are safe by design. And what I mean by that is if you look at our sites and you drive by the Live Oak location, our columns are not, we don't have a short, squatty, bulky canopy. We lift it up so you can see through and see the building. It doesn't make sense to spend all that money on a building and then block it with a canopy. And we want to be able to see it into the storefront, so we don't have a bunch of clutter in our windows. We have big windows that you can see in. And our lighting, we do light our lots. We want to make sure we don't have any dark spots. We run a photometric just to make sure that we're not, having any issues where employees are going to dump trash and it's dark outside, and you don't have to worry about safety issues. Now, with that said, we do use low-intensity LED lights, and we can shield, and we run the photometric to make sure we're not spilling over into adjacent properties. So here's a security plan, and Charles Tennyson actually reviews each and every single one of these. And so what we do here is we actually place our light poles in a way that we can affix security cameras to them. So every square inch inside and out is actually covered by those security cameras. So the thing that really sets us apart, and this is really where the industry is going. Okay, we sell gas. We're never going to get away from that. We do understand it's a declining category, but food's not. And so we're trying to get more and more into the food. Essentially, we're a restaurant, we're a pizza place, we're a sandwich shop, we're a taco stand, we're a Starbucks, we're a donut shop, a Smoothie King, all in one. If you haven't been by to try our food, I'd challenge you to go by and try our brisket and tell me you don't like it. I was actually shocked. We just started doing tacos down here, and they were absolutely amazing. But our food is good. We do have healthy options as well. We do have salads to go, a plethora of salads to go with wraps. The take-home, the veggie trays and fruit trays and hard-boiled eggs. So we do have a healthy option component as well. It's just not as much fun to show those pictures. Now, from a site selection standpoint, we do our own site selection. We do all of our own project management, all of our own development. And so when we look at an area, we look at the competition, we run the models, run the numbers, but we're able to go places that other people can't because we run about 3.5 times inside what our competitors do. And so whenever we have a QT kitchen facility in our store, as soon as we put these things in, we went back and put them in every single store. Even the smaller stores have a kitchen. Every single Quick Trip is a we have a Gen 3 now, so they're Gen 2.5 or higher at every single store. And this is really what sets us apart. We win on our people. When you walk into a QT, you're never going to find any kind of risque magazines, drug paraphernalia. We don't sell any of that stuff. Our employees are clean-shaven. The reason I don't have a beard today is because we don't let our store employees have a beard, so Chet doesn't let us have our beards either. We don't allow piercings and or visible tattoos. And so it's a very clean, neat neighborhood store. It's a feeling. If you haven't been into one, go in, and people always tell us it feels like a Quick Trip. And I truly believe that, not just because I'm there, it's just they're clean, we got fast, friendly customer service, and it's really just a top-notch operation. As far as our actual food products go, we do almost everything in-house. So we have Quick Trip Kitchens. Quick Trip Kitchens is served by Quick Trip Distribution. So we make all of our own donuts in-house. All the food is essentially made by a Quick Trip employee, packaged, trucked by a Quick Trip employee, stocked, sold, and all from top to bottom by a Quick Trip employee. And just to back up a little bit, as far as store appearances go, everybody comes in and builds a nice facility. What's it look like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road? I would challenge you to go look on Google, look at any of our Dallas sites, and they should look the way they did the day they opened. I was actually in a Garland City Council meeting with one of our competitors, and they were denied and told, why don't you go back and fix your existing stores and make them look like QT does, and we'll think about approving this one. So we want our store to look the way it does the day it opens, 10, 20, 50 years, and that's how we build them. From our construction, everything we do is top-notch. Our pavement specs exceed any fire lane restrictions or codes in the entire state or in any market that I've worked in. We use a brick-and-mortar store. We're not doing tilt-wall construction. It's 100% non-combustible. So we build these things like tanks for a reason. We have an FS department that comes by, so they're Quick Trip employees as well. They are on a call system. Chipping a curb, shrub dies, cappuccino machine goes down, roller grill's not working, boom, priority call goes in, they get the call. They have a certain amount of time that they have before that call has to be fixed. So the store will be maintained. On top of that, you've got store managers that are there 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. You've got store supervisors that come by once a week, and they do a store walk, a full checklist store walk. You have district managers that come by every month to do a DM ride. Same thing, it's just a little bit more intense. And they come in and they do their job. On top of that, when you want to talk about being a responsible retailer, we get out in front of things. So we actually do our own TABC and cigarette stings. So we go to every store. We do a secret shop for the store for appearance, cleanliness, making sure the shelves are stocked. Then we do a kitchen as well. And then we do alcohol and, like I said, tobacco. So we'll go in. We'll send someone who is of age but is under the age, they're of age, but they look under the age we require to card. And so they get 2 strikes. 2 strikes and they're out. We take responsible retailing very, very seriously, and we've been doing that for, I want to say, 5 or 6 years now. So it's been a while. We actually started that up in Dallas. It's not something new we've done down here. We're also getting out in front of the 18-year-old, the 21-year-old cigarette sales. We caught wind in Leon Valley and Kirby that, hey, this is coming down the pike. We didn't wait for them to come knock on the door to tell us that, we knew the ordinance passed. We didn't have to have somebody come in and tell us, hey, start enforcing this. We reached out to them. In summation, I'd like to say that we strive to be the best. And today, I respectfully request tonight that you allow us to bring the best to Schertz. We meet every and any ordinance. We're not asking for any variances. We want to integrate ourselves in the community and do what's right. We aren't trying to just build a Quick Trip. We're trying to build a Schertz Quick Trip. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, we do still have the public hearing open. Is there anybody else out in the audience that wishes to come and speak? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, 6:24. All right, Commissioners, you're up to bat. Comments, questions?
I've got a question for staff or somebody. How much of the right turn lane did we lose at the southern end of their property? It looks like I've got no room to stack a car anymore.
Can you repeat the question?
How much room do we have for a right turn lane at the southern end of their property on 3009? It looks like I cannot stack a car. I cannot get a car out of the adjacent lane.
This entire access point is 40 feet.
You got a better picture if you go to the other one.
On the other presentation?
It's in the presentation, yeah. I understand that, but my question is, southern end, where the green strip is, to get into that driveway with the right turn. I cannot get a car out of the traffic lane. It's going to turn from within the traffic lane. He has that picture. You can put it up.
So exactly what we did was something we've done. Thank you. So the design here actually came from Brian Hooker with TxDOT and Will Lockett. It's something that they use in Bexar County a lot. Richard De La Cruz. We actually have it at Kirby. We've got Blanco and Parliament, Leon Valley, Seneca and Bandera. If you guys are familiar with that street and that traffic coming off of 16 coming down through Leon Valley, we actually have this configuration. It's proved, it's operational, it works, and we're not having any issues. What it's called is a flare lane. It's actually a TxDOT approved specification, but it is not a full deceleration turn lane. And the reason that we had to do that here is not a reason of whether or not we want to. We had to leave the Rips drive alone. And so we went with the alternate design of the flare lane because we actually can't do anything with his driveway at this time. But it is an improved TxDOT specification.
I understand it's approved TxDOT. I don't necessarily approve everything TxDOT does.
Yes, sir.
I don't like
Either.
TxDOT in all cases. Okay?
I agree on something.
What I'm going to tell you is we're creating another bottleneck down there, which is why we went to bat so many years ago to go get that divided highway put in, because we kept getting people ass-ended trying to make turns. Last time it was trying to make a left turn across that highway, and they were getting ass-ended because we had no place to get them out of the traffic. Now we're creating a spot that's exactly the same. I can't get the ass end, especially of that 24-foot wagon I drive, out of that lane. And therefore, me trying to make a turn and somebody coming out of that lane, out of that service station, we have a problem. And
We'll
we're
actually
going to wind
have-
up causing accidents.
I believe we're actually going to have 120 feet of stack, and the lane will be 12 feet wide.
Right. The idea with doing it like...
To the mic, please, sir.
I'm Aaron Perinsky with Kimley Horn. I'm the civil engineer on the project. So we, through all the coordination with TxDOT, the idea was to maintain the right turn decel lane, and the back entrance and the secondary public street on the back would provide, because it sounds like what you're concerned about is vehicles trying to use this to get out of the property. And that's
Anybody getting out of the property is going to go to the red light if they got any sense. I'm talking about the right turn as I come down or go up 3009 to get into your property.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right. So that's the idea behind the wider driveway, to pull vehicles off of 3009 that are coming towards 35. So the wider driveway allows them to enter the site faster and not have to hit the brakes and stop in the right turn lane, because this is the start of in the right turn lane anyway. So if you're moving over, you're going to either be turning right at the light as it exists today, or you have the wider driveway to turn right and enter the property. So either way, that maneuver is happening, but the wider driveway allows for that movement to happen faster than it would otherwise.
I would also like to add, so typically here on a right-in, right-out driveway, we would do a 30-foot drive. Staff did ask us to do a 40, and we complied. No issue, whatever we got to do to make it safer. But once they actually get into the site, they are unimpeded. So if you look at that 30-foot dimension, that stub out, that's right as soon as you turn in the drive. We actually had that as 3 parking spaces, and then we realized, well, we don't want cars backing up into that, so let's make it wider, let's add the flare lane, and get the cars off of 3009, so there is no conflict. We also shifted our canopy and tanks away, so you have a very large area there for the cars to come in to the right side of the canopy unimpeded. That also was why we took out the trees. We had a funky curb line there that made a pinch point, and what we did was we opened it all up. So that was kind of the philosophy behind it, was opening it all up to get people in so that we're not having people back onto 3009.
That certainly was a concern through the coordination with TxDOT and with Mr. Nowak. That was certainly discussed at length several rounds.
Can you put that up?
The flare lane is a traffic calming device. Is that the purpose of it?
I wouldn't call it traffic calming, but it's just a way to allow the maneuver to happen more freely, I guess is a good way to put it. So it's kind of like I can't think of another example, but when you're trying to promote the ease of a right turn movement and minimize conflict, more room is better. So I mean that's essentially the concept is you already have the right turn lane. Vehicles coming along 3009 already have that right turn lane to get out of the main travel lane, and then providing a wider turn lane with the 45-degree flares, it just allows you to make that right turn without without slowing down until you're on site. And then then we eliminated any conflict when you come onto the site, so that you have maximum space to get on the property, and then you're staying out of that main through lane, and that minimizes the risk for conflict. I mean, you can't fully design anything to minimize all accidents, unfortunately, but those are some of the things we talked through and thought through with the city engineers and with TxDOT to make that as safe as it can be.
We actually did eliminate a few more parking spaces there on the right side. They went almost all the way down the whole right side of the fire lane, so we only have the 4 now. We did eliminate a lot of parking spaces, so we didn't have to go back in that area.
Yeah, and the only reason I say it, I wouldn't call it traffic calming, because usually when you think of traffic calming, you think of slowing vehicles down, like speed bumps and jiggle bars and things like that to help slow traffic down. So this is more about providing more space to make the maneuver and make that right turn without having a situation where cars have to slow down to get into that driveway.
Yeah, I'm familiar with traffic calming devices. It looks similar to a bulb out to me, or a bump out, but
yeah.
It seems like it's more important for you to avoid that conflict coming off the property. I was thinking the purpose of it was to help, like you were saying, take the right turn on the property, but
Right.
It's not necessarily about that.
Right, and it's not. I mean,
One or the other.
I think if you come to this store, maybe your first time you'll try to come out of that driveway, but most people are going to Quick Trip is built as a neighborhood store where it's for repeat customers. So once you come in here one time, you realize you come in the back and you hit the light, just like you said. I mean, that's the way to exit, is to come out the second public street, and especially when, I mean, we haven't talked about it yet here, but with the extension of RIPS all the way over to Old Wiederstein Road, that's a totally different game changer for traffic in the area too, when that connection is made, and then you can take that back exit, get out the other way, get on 3009. That just helps this whole situation even more.
So with that driveway right there, while we're on that, you're on 3009. There's a bit of a retaining wall there, so you've got a pretty significant elevation difference. Are you going to scrape down the whole lot, or are you just going to leave it, or what are you going to do there?
So we're all about aesthetics, and so that was one of the first things that we did notice, and TxDOT was pretty happy that we decided we are going to take all of that out, regrade it, and make it all nice and smooth, and take all the retaining walls and improvements out.
What?
Actually, just drove by there on the way over here. I mean, the whole reason for that is because Mr. Rips probably didn't want any upgrading. He wanted to save his fence when that road went in, I would imagine, because that's how it's built. I mean, it goes right up to that old fence, and that's the only reason for that retaining wall, and then all that structure for the sidewalk. So with this grading, it'll be a very traditional look to where you'll have a standard curb, you'll have a sidewalk along the curb, you'll have some landscaping up to the curb in the parking lot, and there won't be any retaining wall or significant grade breaks.
Earlier, you mentioned there was some sort of restriction about putting a decel lane in there. Can you go over that again? What prevented you from putting a decel lane in?
Well, the RIPS driveway is right there. So you already have a full driveway for the intersection.
So you had to protect his driveway?
This one?
And that is by TxDOT decree, or what? Okay. You also mentioned earlier, Mr. Dudley, about, I think it was the tree ordinance or the tree restrictions made you put the face of the building towards 3009. What, if you didn't have those restrictions, what would you have preferred to do with the site?
Well, ideally what we do is a side layout where we would lay out we would stretch out a lot further to the right, but the constraints of our property from the street that's going to be dedicated and how much property we could actually obtain to make the site feasible and not conflict with that existing driveway. We're pinched in here, so it's not just the trees. What we have here, we have two preferred layouts. And so we have where the canopy's in front of the building, and then we have one where it's on the side of the building. Unfortunately, we didn't have the configuration here to do that.
Okay.
So we did put it in the front of the building. The only thing you could really do at that point is we looked at turning it to where the canopy faced RIPS, and the building was behind that. So the back of the building was up against the back area here. And that just didn't work. The site, couldn't get the driveways to work at that point. So then you had drives that were coming into the canopy or into the building. Circulation just didn't work. And not to mention, we really couldn't put the tree anywhere along any of the frontages based on the CPS easements that are out there, the water line easements. That's why all our landscaping is shoved as far back as it possibly could be. With the size of those trees, there's really just nowhere that we could have placed them. So it was really an issue of all of those things combined. We looked at multiple different layouts. We definitely tried to value engineer them. It would have been significantly cheaper on the building if we could have not had the triple lot frontage and had to dress the back of the building up. So we really tried to value engineer it, and we just couldn't. This is a preferred layout for us. It's one of our two preferred, but we did try to value engineer it, and it just didn't pan out. I do believe this is the correct way to go from an internal stack situation and facilitating all the traffic. Having the right in on RIPS, it really flows really well with the site. As far as with congestion being an issue, a concern, I do believe that this is our best layout.
Yeah.
The drive being, we would prefer that drive back here on the new development road to be on the left side. We conceded to that because we knew obviously it would be too close to the intersection. So this is, I wouldn't say compromise access for us, but it's not ideal. So.
Okay. One more. Are you going to construct the extension of I guess it's going to stay the Baptist, whatever it's called now, Baptist Health Driveway?
That is correct, sir.
You're going to do the whole street?
Up until where we show it, yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Was there any thought given to pushing the convenience store to 3009 and putting the pumps behind it, so that from the street front, what you're seeing is an attractive building rather than a big parking lot with gas pumps?
Well, and so we definitely try to lessen the intensity of the use. We don't want to have a giant megalithic structure out there either. So we do the skinnier columns. We don't do the huge facades. We raise the canopy up so you can see through it to the building. But here you're going to have a lot of the landscaping that blocks and lessens that use. When you start turning that, now all of a sudden those people coming off 3009 are coming right into the back of your building. That's your loading zone. Then we'd have to look at flipping our tanks to it just didn't work as well for internal circulation and safety of having people come into the lot. The way that we have it now, they're able to come in, they can choose to continue down up to the building, clear that area out, or go to the gas pumps. And when we flipped it, the majority of that traffic then was having to go through basically by the building. And for us, the most congested part of the store is between the building and the canopy. And so we really don't want customers having to, we have entrances on all three sides. We really want to keep that area free of congestion, so people can come in, get their food, get a gallon of milk, get a sandwich, and be able to free flow and get to that gas use and not have to compete with around the store. That busiest area is really between the canopy and the building, and it just works a lot better for us having the configuration we have with people being able to access the canopy off 3009.
Aren't there electrical lines along the 3009 and Rips Road where you're showing the trees at?
We will have overhead electric. The easement is an aerial easement only. That is why the trees are pushed back as far as they are.
And they're pushed back far enough to stay out of that area.
Yes, sir. That was one of our comments.
Yeah, so I know it's a little tough to see with this configuration. What you're seeing is a 14-foot CPS overhang only easement down here, overlaid with the 16-foot public water easement that had to be put into the actual property instead of under TxDOT's right-of-way. The landscaping is beyond both of those easements within the landscape buffer, the 20-foot landscape buffer, and well out of those easements. They've also gotten clearance from CPS and confirmation that they can use the CPS easement as overhang only, so there's no conflict there between the CPS easement and the water easement overlapping.
Can you go back to the zoning map? Do you know offhand what the Cibolo zoning is? Northeast of RGB?
Here?
Yeah.
No.
You don't know? Way over here. Okay, thanks.
I'm sure you guys feel confident about your ability to make a profit there because you're obviously making probably well into a seven-figure investment in that property. But one of the things that I heard talking with somebody is like, why in the hell do we need another gas station at the corner of 3009? We've got an intersection there where we have, with the 7-Eleven coming, the HEB, the two Circle Ks, the Shell, the Murphy's down the street, and you guys, that'd be a total of 7 convenience stores within a mile of that intersection. And so, how, from a gas perspective, I don't see it, bringing value or improvement to the community. From the operation standpoint of what you're doing inside your 4 walls, I think that's quite a bit better than some of the competition that you have to deal with. Makes it a kind of a difficult decision as we're looking at this, because I think you guys would be a good corporate citizen. I've been in a couple of your stores here in the area. Looks like they're fairly well run. They're clean. But then there is that concern of, as we develop our city, what is the ultimate best? And I'm not really 100% convinced that adding more gas pumps at that intersection is the ultimate best, when in the past we've been patient and we've said no and thank you for being interested, but not at this point. And we've been willing to wait for something else and something better. And most of those times we've been rewarded quite handsomely by being patient and waiting. And that's kind of where I'm torn on this, is the right of the property owner to sell and develop their property versus the city's desire to regulate and get the highest and best use out of the property in the future. And so, got anything to comment on that?
I guess quickly, from a staff's point of view, it's not really under our purview to dictate how many of a certain business develops in a certain confined area. If they believe there's a market for it, and I'm sure they've done plenty of market studies to kind of see if a business is viable in this location, then it's their prerogative to develop the property in that circumstance. Our purpose as staff is to ensure that development not only meets the current zoning, as well as matches the future, or the vision for what we see as the future of the city of Schertz under the comprehensive land use plan, which it does through the presentation, but also to make sure that the development meets all of the current code requirements and matches our high standards. But it is under our purview to kind of dictate how many of a certain business is. It's kind of as the market develops. But I'll let JD kind of speak to why he believes it should be.
I'll ask, Mike actually did the site selection, and I'd like to have him come up and talk. I do appreciate the kind words. I'm glad you actually got to go into one of our stores and kind of see what we do. You know, I know you may have 6 or 7 gas stations here, but again, I can't stress enough, we're not just a gas station. I know we have those gas pumps in front of our store, but try our food, our restaurant. I know we win on people. It's fast-friendly customer service. You might have other gas stations, you don't have a Quick Trip. And I can promise you, when you go into a 7-Eleven or you go into one of those smaller boxes, they don't have the amenities that a QT has, the different things that we can offer. We do feel there's a need here. Mike actually worked up this entire area, actually this entire side of town, so I'll let him talk why we selected this location.
Thank you for your time tonight. I did want to just start off by saying appreciate your comments, and there are several MPDs or pumps in the area, but with those pumps, there's not the inside offer. HEB is just what we would call a kiosk offer.
Can you speak up more direct into the microphone?
Yes, sir. Sure. The HEB is a kiosk style only. It doesn't have an inside offer. The 7-Eleven is a quite small offer. I know it's new. It's taken over the Jack in the Box space, but it's not going to have the inside offer. The Chevron that has the Subway restaurant in it, again, it's not the quality. I don't want to speak ill of any of our competitors, but there is a vast difference between what our offer provides and the 7, as you say, within a mile, even the Circle K down south on the west side of 3009. And I would say, I'll verify this, but the reason why we're on Fortune's top 100 companies to work for in the country for over 15 years is because of the product that we provide and the customer service and the employee overall. So our competitors can't say that. So when we are requesting to bring Quick Trip to the Schertz community, we are confident, more than confident, that our success at this intersection is, with your, of course, your blessing, is absolutely going to be successful. So, I can answer any specific questions on how we selected it, but just site selection purposes, you know, the city of Schertz is over 40,000 people. I want to educate you guys on Schertz, but 3009 is a major arterial coming into the city of Schertz, and having a controlled access point there at Ritz Chrysler is a great opportunity for us to provide the citizens of Schertz with a Quick Trip development.
I guess one of the other things I'll throw out there too is, as we're continuing this discussion, is that I had one of the HOAs nearby reach out to me about their concerns about the traffic, and you know, my perspective is on it. And I want to see if you can confirm that for me. Is that as a convenience store operation, that basically you're not really going to change the traffic on 3009 significantly, because you're not a destination. You're just somebody that happens to be there when somebody needs gas, and you're not somebody that somebody's going to drive from New Braunfels to come and get gas.
That's absolutely correct, sir. That is exactly the way we see ourselves, as a non-destination location. And truly, it's the purpose is in our name. We are a convenience operator. We do not add traffic, and that's why it's important for us to locate on primary arterial roads with really good access points so we can get people in and out, a convenient way to shop on or to from work or home. So yes, sir, that is absolutely correct in our opinion.
All right, commissioners, any other questions?
For staff, go ahead.
I'd like to echo on Mr. Dolly's comments on the gas stations, and I like the fact that you guys have quality food and you haven't closed a unit. And so I would recommend that you maintain that focus, because I think the gas is going to be a secondary to your business, especially in that corridor where you are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'd also add, I appreciate the detail you put into your presentation, especially talking about the lighting and light pollution as a concern of mine. And I'm just one person on the commission, but I'm very familiar with Quick Trip. I used to live in Kansas City for 5 years, so I've been there all the time. I'm going there after
I started with Quick Trip in Kansas City in 2002, 17 years ago. So that's where I started my career cleaning.
It's a little bit different setup where I was off 39th in Maine, but it's more urban, but
Yes, ma'am.
it's still Quick
I know that store well, store 84.
It's the busiest Quick Trip ever.
Yes, ma'am, it's very busy.
Mr. Burrow?
A couple of comments for staff. When we have a zoning issue coming before us, could you include the zoning map in our package? And
Pardon me?
could you include the zoning map like that in our package? It's not in our package, and I think we should have everything you have.
The SUP exhibit should have the zoning for all adjacent properties and current properties that you were given.
Not this, not that.
Yeah, not this specific map.
It's got a description, you're right, but a visualization would add a little bit to it, I think.
Sure.
I would prefer to have it. If nobody else does, then.
No, that's fine. We can work on adding that into the packets you received. That's not a problem.
And before you arrived and before Emily arrived, I made a request a long time ago. When we're talking about a zoning change or a comp change or some other kind of change and we butt up against Cibolo or Selma or somebody else, it'd be nice to have, what is Cibolo doing on that particular area?
Okay.
It'd be nice to know what Cibolo has planned. I think it's residential, I'm not sure, but
I'd imagine so.
I think it would add to this discussion from my standpoint. What's our neighbor trying to do in that same area? Thank you.
Sure.
I just have one more question. What is the distance between the proposed right-in, right-out driveway and the intersection at 3009 and Rips?
Which intersection again? At the one down here on 3009?
The 3009, yeah.
I would say exact distance-wise, I'm not 100% sure. I would say, I know that site's around 300 feet down there. 250? 250?
I just, in going back to the traffic, it just concerns me a little bit. People exiting out onto 3009 into a right turn only lane and then trying to merge with the tremendous amount of traffic we have right there anyway, trying to merge back over into one of the straight lanes.
No, yeah, I understand that concern. I believe that was the point of the multiple exit points, but I'll let them speak to it.
Yeah.
We believe that it would be self-governed. I mean, if there's a ton of stack, people aren't going to sit there trying to get out. So they will have that flood, the gate to get out of the back of the site to come back to the light. I think if they sit there, they may do it once, but with the traffic there, especially during peak hours, it'll be pretty difficult to turn out. What set that drive, one, we had to widen the drive, so it got a little bit closer to the intersection. But what drove that location really was the design of that flare lane and how much we could fit between us and the Rips driveway.
All right, Commissioners, any other questions? All right, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion, we approve, recommend approval of specific use permit, SUP 2018-003.
All right, have a motion for approval by Commissioner Greenwald. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Ray. Any other comments or questions? All right, call for a vote.
Nay.
Aye.
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 Aye. So that's 5 ayes, 2 nays. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck with your project. Next item on the agenda, requests and announcements. Request by commissioners to place items on a future planning and zoning agenda. Commissioners, anybody?
Tree ordinance, is that on one of our future discussions?
That is one item that we do have. We have quite a list, but yeah, the trees under the power lines is something that Emily and Nick are aware of that we want to discuss when we can get to it.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else?
Are we still moving towards discussing modifications to the UDC as well?
As soon as staff has some time. I guess, Mr. Brown, if you can maybe touch on that a little bit. We got Bryce working on the software program, and then he's going to start working on the land use project down south.
All right, so really at the next council meeting, we're planning to deal with the sector plan down south and the UDC as well. So that would go to council on March 26th as the plan is now. And then where it goes from there, we'll have to see how the discussion goes.
All right. Anybody else?
One announcement they made last night, baseball season starts 23rd of this month.
Yes.
So there'll be a small parade for the children to come down and into the park down here. Approximately 900 and I believe about 950 registered so far.
Yeah, BVYA is a great organization. All right, announcements by staff.
Well, I got one.
Okay.
I went to the new Evo last week, and it's fantastic. I wish they would have asked for a bigger sign, and I wish we would have approved a bigger sign. They need a bigger sign. It's a fabulous place.
All right, announcements by staff. Nothing. All right, does anybody have anything else? All right, meeting adjourned, 6:56.